This is Time Signatures with Jim Ervin, a podcast and radio program presented by the Capital Area Blues Society in Lansing, Michigan. Most any contemporary musical style can trace its roots back to the blues. Time Signatures explores the blues and its musical connections with captivating interviews, lively discussions, and news from the world of the blues.
You know I'm crying, baby, driving up and down these Michigan roads, yeah.
And now, here he is, your host, Jim Ervin.
Baby, I'm home.
We're back again.
All right. All right.
We want to welcome you to Time Signatures. I am Jim Ervin. This is going to be a two-parter with Freddie Cunningham and James L. Williams, founders of the Root Doctor Band. And, of course, the lovely and talented Marge Mooney. Glad to have her here. She's got her cowbell.
I do.
And maybe we'll get her to play it on the outro or something. I don't have any music, but, we'll figure something out. So I just want to get back into it. And since this is part two of our interview with you guys, talking about your 32 years that you blessed the greater Lansing area and the music world itself with the Root Doctor Band. One of my biggest thrills was being there for your final show. I was aboard the Michigan Princess. Oh. And Freddie, I have to ask you something, man. Your signature closing song, drawing a blank.
Soulshine?
Soulshine. Thank you. I absolutely love that, that was like the way that you closed out just about every concert I've ever seen you play, including at the Blues Fest, on the Michigan Princess. It's one of my favorite songs you guys do.
Well, thank you. Warren Haynes wrote the song, and I heard Larry McCray do it for the first time.
Oh wow!
Yeah, Larry McCray's how I got familiar with it too.
Yeah. In the first time that I heard it, and I was fortunate enough to have musicians and in the band that I had who could play it, and I was able to to put my spin on it, and it's one of my favorite songs that I do.
Me too.
I absolutely love it. Absolutely.
I feel like we both have a connection with it feeling like our fathers, bringing our fathers back to us.
Yeah, because it talks a lot about thinking about what my daddy said, and we were pretty close to our dads, and he definitely was a special person in my life.
So I have to ask both of you, Freddie and James, what musician or band caused you guys to dig deeper into your musical roots and bring new stuff out? Was there any particular band you can point to, or?
Well, we have to thank Mr. Scott Allman, because he brought a lot of blues, and he still does here in the capital city. Mm-hmm. And Scott always believe in some old school, and he bring up some fresh stuff from people that he met, and we got a chance to choose some of that music there too.
Yeah.
Don't you think, Frank?
Yeah. It was like when I was younger, and it was always the Temptations. It was always Smokey Robinson. It was the Four Tops and stuff like that, because that was the time that I grew up in. That was the time when Motown was really big, and unfortunately, the blues was taking kind of a downer at that time. It was kind of under the radar, so we say. But myself, doing all those songs, the My Girl and Ain't Too Proud to Beg and all that stuff, I always wanted to do blues tunes.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I ran into people who were into that, into that genre, and so it wasn't hard for me to pick it back up, because it was always there.
I'd like to add a little something to
Sure,
that.
yeah, go ahead, by all means.
As we mentioned in the previous show, I would like to put out a page with a list of the musicians that we can't think of right now, or because there's so many, and we've been blessed with amazing talent, an amazing heart, and thought. Each version of the band brought different people who had different ideas, or would bring songs back from different eras. They could do blues, they could do jazz, funk, soul, mix it all up. and Jimmy Alfredson brought, some amazing 60s music. And so I want to say it's the musicians in the band that helped us dig deeper and bring more music out, including writing.
Well said. Yeah.
And album to album, you can hear it. You can hear a little bit of an influence, like as things changed hands, first of all. But I mean, anytime I've ever listened to Root Doctor, it isn't just a matter of just the blues. Freddie's voice, as we all know, lends itself to soul anyway. You can hear that, the gospel influence. There's just so many different vibes. And I like that you point out the 60s vibe, because that is something that I've always noticed, especially with Jim's playing, Jim Alfredson. He's just got that groovy 60s, late 60s, early 70s, the organ, man. He just rides that.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, he really does. He's an old soul.
He is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
And
he's actually he's slightly younger than me.
I
know this because we went to the same high school.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah, we did.
It's a tiny world.
Well, you are listening to Time Signatures with Jim Ervin and Daedalian Lowry, and we have our special guest here, the Root Doctor Band, Freddie Cunningham and James L. Williams, and of course the lovely and talented Marge Mooney. Glad to have everybody here, and we are coming to you live, well, kind of live by tape, I guess you could say, or recorded.
Recorded live.
Recorded live in front of a studio audience here at Moriarty's, and we are so thankful that they've given us a place to do this. But since we talked to James, and we know what he's doing now that he's not working with the Root Doctor, what have you been up to? I've seen you around town a few times too, man.
Well, I don't have a project right now, but there could be something coming up in the next couple of months. I just have to.
Do we have breaking news here?
Well, no. I just have to get myself together, as far as putting a show, putting different tunes together, and maybe something coming up in the next couple of months. You never know.
Possibly on a Tuesday night at Moriarty's jazz.
Preferably
maybe.
On a Tuesday night at Moriarty's.
I have to say that I absolutely hated the first announcement that I heard, and it was when you guys were playing at the Sun-Dried Festival in Mason. That was the first time that I heard you guys were wrapping up. It hurt so bad to hear that because I love your music, and I've shot pictures of you guys for years. And so it's kind of serendipitous to be able to see the members of the Root Doctors still continuing on, still sowing the seeds of music within the community. Whether or not they're together is irrelevant. The style and the flavor of that Root Doctor family still exists. And I love seeing you guys when you bump into each other, like you did when you saw James this evening. And I mean, you guys are like family. You played together for all those years.
All those years, you can't help but be.
Absolutely.
I mean, he'll forever have a place in my musical heart.
Oh yeah, Fred. We made a lot of music together.
Oh yeah.
And actually, you guys still got some CDs, a lot of music, right?
We do.
Oh yeah. Like this, it was a million seller.
There's a million in there.
With a million of them in the cellar.
Hey James, as the bass guy, you got a favorite song you like playing?
Oh man, I had a couple of them out there.
Now you only get one. I'm gonna make you pick one, brother. That's all there is.
Actually,
you get one shot at this.
Actually, your theme song that you was playing there,
Michigan
Roads.
Michigan Road was really cool song, and I really dug that when we was putting it together, and it still sounds good.
Yeah, and anybody that knows me knows I love Michigan. So when you guys put that out, I was like, yeah, let's do this.
And the irony of it, Daedalian asked me to come up with an intro song that I could use for the intro and the outro of the program. And I literally pulled up the first album and I heard that and I said, ooh, 26 seconds. That's a beautiful intro time. and I love the sound and I love the flavor of it. And anybody that listens to our podcast now, they're going to know that we're from Michigan. We are Michigan based. So everything just kind of fell in together.
Out of curiosity, when you guys would sit down and say, all right, it's time to put together a new album, what's your starting point? Was it a matter of writing the lyrics first? Did you start off with music first? Was it a riff? What was it?
Well, different guys.
And yeah, I know there's a lot of guys that aren't here that don't get to talk about this. I'm sure they definitely contributed.
They came up with a groove, and then I'm
Okay, so a riff or a groove.
Yeah.
That's your starting point.
Right.
And then
Usually is.
you'd weave the lyrics in around that.
Yeah.
All right. Because
Right.
every band I've noticed does it different. So.
Right. And some of the songs we did do differently.
Yeah.
A couple of songs there were already lyrics too. We just put a groove to it.
We were gifted songs
And
from
then-
people.
Which
Ed Smith and Jason Strothide both
Right.
gave you lyrics to a song that
Okay.
they
yeah.
made their own with the music.
And then we would play that groove, and Jimmy and Greg and I would think of something, to fill that spot. Fortunately, it's a lot of them they fit together.
That always comes back to having just the right combination of dudes
Right.
in a band. That's the way it works.
is.
It's
It is.
chemistry for sure.
Yeah.
It is.
Oh, yeah.
It is chemistry, right? To coin a phrase.
So typically the lyrics over the years, though, they've been contributed by different members of the band, or was it
Yeah.
always okay? All right.
Yeah, right. Because I've written a couple.
And that's the thing is, would you consider yourself a poet without
no.
knowing it?
I know it, and I ain't no poet.
Yeah. There it is. You knew it was coming back.
Hey, timing's everything, man.
Isn't it though? You got that right. No, but I was able to put a few things together. And Jimmy and Greg and James and
Scory and Lisa.
and Mike and Bill
Oh,
Malone
yeah.
and and different people were.
So many names that we can't remember.
Yeah, exactly.
And we love you all.
Exactly,
Yes.
and we do love you all. Because they were such a big contribution.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the Root Doctor sound also was coming from Fred and I. First, the consistency over the years, the Root and the lead vocals was there.
Well, that's, there was something that I had mentioned in our first go-round when we recorded the first episode, that the sound has always been consistent. That quality has always been there, regardless of who you've got
In the
supporting
band.
you.
Right.
It's always
Right.
been a consistent familial sound.
And I've always been fortunate to have musicians around me who wanted to, who could contribute to what I wanted to do, or who could assist me. I mean, had it not been for James, Greg, Doug, Jimmy, Steve.
All right. So next time we do this, we're
Yeah.
gonna give you a list of names.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're gonna put it there, and we're gonna go. Okay, we're gonna acknowledge everybody right here,
Exactly.
and then we'll go back around.
Right.
It was a lot of folks to make it happen over the
Oh,
years.
yeah.
But you two, and correct me if I'm wrong, you two are the two guys that have been the consistent force behind this,
We've
right?
been the constant. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that just having Fred naturally to be the lead singer, but I think having the bass made it a little easier for other musicians to come into the band and to make the music tight.
That's the because the bass is the foundation. You can put, all you need is a bass. You get bass player and a singer, you'll be fine. Push come to shove, but you add all those other, pieces together, and it's makes it that much better. But
Yeah.
So it's been a very positive interview to this point, but I'd like you to talk about
Are you turning it negative now? Negative, are you?
that
Not naming names.
Describe your least favorite part about being a musician. Is there anything about being a musician that has been a challenge to you, or and this is for both of you. I'd like to get an answer from both of you. Is there anything about being a musician that has been a challenge at any point over the last 32 years?
Yeah, when we started, you had to take your own PA. And we still do, in different places. Fortunately, now I have someone who will take care of that for me.
We're sorry, Marge.
Hey,
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm a little lazy on the button here. Sorry.
but No, that was the old saying that that's what you get paid for.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. I hate
So a
it.
lot of equipment lugging in the
Oh, I
areas.
hate that.
Well, and
All
also
through it.
and also family. You know, when you're trying to raise a family, or you're trying to. I've been working at Michigan State for 37 years.
Yeah.
So to try to maintain a job and
Yeah.
and a family life, and
Yeah.
it can be challenging sometimes.
Yeah, because a lot of those years, working 5 days a week at least,
Yeah.
and playing sometimes 2 nights a week on the weekend, in smoky bars
Yeah.
at that time,
Yeah.
So,
Kinda.
so speaking of your of the venues, you've played at a lot of venues in the greater Lansing area. What would
Yeah.
you say was your favorite venue ever, all time to play in?
Well, besides this place that we played a couple of times. Well, we did a lot of playing actually at the Green Door.
And Moriarty.
The Green
Yeah.
Door has been really
They
a
were-
great place for the band.
But sometimes we were there like every other weekend.
Well, and the other thing
That's
is,
true.
too, it doesn't exist anymore, and I'm sorry because I never got to go there, but the Cadillac Club I know was a very popular jumping place. You guys actually recorded one of your albums live there. And
Yes.
I've seen some video of that, too, on YouTube, which is kind of cool.
The room is really nice.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that room.
Yeah.
Only thing about it was the stage was too small.
Which was surprising considering how big that place
How
was.
big that
Right.
place was.
So it's too bad the Silver Dollar wasn't blues back in the day. Is that
Well, you know what?
they had
It
a
was.
huge-
It was because they had a huge, it had a huge stage.
Oh, yeah.
And the lighted floor, and
Yep.
the whole shot. I saw Sly and the Family Stone there one night for
At the Dollar?
at the Dollar for 50
Oh,
cents.
man.
Do you see me right now? Do you see me,
50
Freddie?
cents.
I'm like green right now. With envy.
Well, I mean, I've heard about the big bands that played, the big hair bands and
Oh yeah,
and the-
Aerosmith and
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and
But
Seeger.
Kiss played there at one point.
Yeah.
Kiss did?
Yeah.
Yeah,
See,
yeah.
one stage that we played was really small. Is when to be President Clinton was coming through on his train
Oh,
ride to
my
Chicago.
gosh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so we had to walk through like 15,000 people.
Yep.
They let the band go last, so we have to snake our way
Right,
through the
through
crowd to get on this little stage.
Yeah, it was like in the 90s, wasn't it? Yeah.
Right, that
Yeah.
we shared with the lug nut, and and while we're trying to do whatever it is, here's this guy
In a lug nut outfit?
in a lug nut outfit.
Why didn't you hand him the
Yeah.
guitar, man?
Yeah,
Just hand him a
you know,
guitar and
what
say,
could you
play.
do? What could you do? The president was there. You had to be nice.
And big lug.
Yeah, and a big lug.
Not
right.
just a president.
Well, speaking of, we did play that stadium as well. Was it
Oh
was it
yeah,
Leonard
that
Skinner?
was Leonard Skinner and
Winner? Let's see.
Winner.
Johnny Winter, yeah.
Johnny
No, Edgar.
Winner.
Oh, Edgar Winter.
Edgar Winner.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, you are listening to Time Signatures. I'm your host, Jim Ervin, along with Daedalian Lowry. We are recording live at Moriarty's right downtown in Lansing, Michigan. And we've got a nice crowd in the place here. How about a big hand?
Yeah, we do.
We are so thankful for everybody that came
Thank
out this
you.
evening. And we are also speaking with Freddie Cunningham and James L. Williams from the Root Doctor Band. And I don't ever want to call them retired or anything like that because you'll always be the Root Doctor to me. And of course, the lovely and talented Marge Mooney, we're glad to have her as well. And as I said, we are thankful to have everybody here. Guys, I want to turn the page just a little bit. We've got a little bit of time left here. But I'd like to have you share with me the best piece of advice you ever got from another musician. And I want you to dig back, maybe the beginning. What was the best piece of advice you ever got?
Be yourself. You can't be anybody else. You know,
Yeah, play it.
Because everybody else is already taken.
they're right. They are.
Yeah, play it how you feel. Play it from the heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going back to, I got to share something with you guys. About a week and a half ago, we went to a fundraiser for the Ukrainian children, and Larry McRae was there. Unbeknownst to me, Larry had recently lost his son back in November.
Right. I saw
And
that.
I didn't know this previously, but I brought my son with me.
Uh-huh.
And I always wanted him to hear the Root Doctor Band, which he's not done yet, So you're going to have to do a reunion.
Yeah. Okay.
And,
I've
and
been
also,
thinking about that.
And also, I would love that. And also to hear Larry McRae. And when I introduced him to Larry, I had told him that my son plays guitar just a little bit. And Larry was genuinely interested in my son. And he said, you know, man, he says, if I'm ever in the area playing, he says, you get to the point where you want to play, we'll have to get together and pick some strings. He says, but let me tell you, he said, play for yourself first.
Yeah.
And when you're ready to share it with the world,
Right.
the opportunity will present itself.
It
And I
will.
thought, I looked at my son, I'm like, do you know what just happened? The guy's legendary. I mean, Larry McRae, much like yourselves, I mean, you guys are blues in the greater Lansing area. And, you know, Larry played here for many years, played blues on the square. I think you guys did too.
Yeah.
So the familial aspect of the blues in this area, I think, is probably one of the most exciting things that I've ever been a part of.
I have always been amazed at the amount of talent and the level of the talent in this little town. When you think about Lansing as a metropolitan area, it's not that big.
Now you're talking, what, 200,000 if you include East
If
Lansing?
you include,
yeah.
you know, Colton, I don't know, we might have to go out as far as Poamo. You know, but
They're giving me kudos out here for being good on the button now.
the level, you know, the amount of talent and the level of talent, you know, I have always been amazed by it. You know, I mean, good rock and roll players, good blues players.
Yeah.
Yeah, in this town. You know?
Oh yeah, definitely so. You know, we used to play.
A lot of great jazz musicians
Jazz.
too.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Do not
Yes,
let this
do not, do not.
Really good stuff.
Yes.
Got MSU so close,
Yeah.
was full
exactly,
of music.
Yeah.
Right.
James, you were saying?
No, I was just giving to say we used to play Grand Rapids a lot, and seemed like Lansing should be more musical at that time, you know, and so why don't they have more music over here in Lansing like they do in Grand Rapids? And eventually, I think that Lansing caught up and has been doing a great job over the years.
Yeah, it's definitely, like I said earlier, it's definitely on a resurgence, or
Yeah.
you know, it's
Yeah.
growing again. People
Yeah.
are getting excited.
Right.
I think, was it Jim Alfredson that put the post up that was inviting people to come? He had a space where you could come and practice and
Right.
different things. I mean,
Right.
that's where this stuff happens.
Yep.
It's a big mixing bowl where you get to put people together, and that's one of the things that's always blown my mind since I've been in the Lansing area and been involved with Capital Area Blues Society. And I'm incredibly honored to be a part of that board and working with that organization. We've got some wonderful people there. But it's amazing to me when you look at people like Mike Lynch.
Yeah.
Every time I turn around, Mike Lynch is playing with somebody.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and there's a reason for that. It's not just Mike, but he's one example that pops into my head.
Right.
Mocha's another one.
Right.
Another one. 3 or 4 different bands. I mean, it's the level of quality that these musicians in the greater Lansing area have
Yep.
that you don't find everywhere.
Nope.
It's like it's indigenous to this area, and it's organic, and it's a wonderful thing to have.
And there's a generous spirit with the musicians too.
Very much so.
I love that.
So, what I wanted to find out is, I know that Freddie he's always been a hard worker with the band, but I'm going to ask Freddie first, and then I'm going to ask James, and we'll see if he corrects him at all.
Okay.
So, Freddie, how would your previous bandmates describe you as a member of the Root Doctor?
A friend first. First of all, you know, I've always treated the band members equally. I mean, we always, as far as the money was concerned, everybody got paid the same. You know, there wasn't any extra $100 for me because I'm the lead singer. No, there wasn't any of that. Everybody got the same amount of money, and I wanted to make sure right off the bat that happened, because that is one of the things that will destroy your band, you know, as quick as anything else. You know, ego.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? You know,
Definitely
and
so.
you know, letting everybody know that everybody is on the same level. Nobody is more important than anybody else.
James?
Well, I think that's what held us all together for all these years.
Right.
You know, just having that equal pay. And so are you talking about what the bandmates thought of me or Fred?
I just wonder about Fred.
Oh,
What do you think about Freddie?
See, Fred,
Now we're getting down to it.
Easy out there.
James, I was seriously waiting for you to come in and say, "Oh, by the way, you owe me $100." Remember that last gig we played? Where's the $100?
No, we're not gonna open up no cans of worms. You know, we all have our moments, and you know, Fred and I danced around a few things over the years, but we still managed to pull forward in a positive way. I think of just being a strong vocalist. It was quite important for the Root Doctor band, and I'm trying to be a strong bass player behind him, and so. What was that question again?
You did fine.
But you know, the funny thing is, you kind of hinted towards it right there. But I don't know how many bands I have talked to where they have described kind of what you were hinting at right there, and that is, band is almost like being in a marriage.
It is, you know. I mean, what are you gonna do? I mean, because you're gonna bump heads with anywhere you go.
Yeah.
You know, so you're gonna quit this band because you didn't, you know, because you had a little spat, or you're gonna quit. You know, you're gonna go. Well, you're gonna meet the same thing at another band. You're gonna have a spat about something else. So, I mean, you know, are you gonna work through that, or are you gonna just keep going from place to place?
Absolutely. Well, we want to thank both of you for being here this evening.
We enjoyed being here. I really did.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Freddie Cunningham, James L. Williams.
Yes.
The lovely and talented Marge Mooney, who is
That's
going to play
me.
the cowbell here for us in just a couple of minutes.
Okay.
I'm telling you, she's going to play it during the outro. We're going to leave her mic up so that she can play it for us. We thank you both for being here. Actually, all three of you for being here.
Thank you.
And
Yes.
Daedalian, thank you so much for being here on the maiden voyage.
Hey, happy to be there, man.
This has been a good time, and I think we've got a lot more good stuff in the future coming up. As everybody knows, most music can trace its roots back in some way, form, or fashion to the blues, and that's one of the things that we want to highlight with this podcast. Have a good night. Thank you so much for being here. Big hand for you.
This has been Time Signatures with Jim Ervin, presented by the Capital Area Blues Society in Lansing, Michigan. For more information on cabs, visit capitalareablues.org. You can find this episode and past episodes at lccconnect.org. The Time Signatures theme song, Michigan Roads, is used by permission and was written by Root Doctor, featuring Freddie Cunningham.
You know I'm trying, baby, driving up and down these Michigan roads, yeah.
Until next time, keep on keeping the blues alive.